So if you are an avid hiker and enthusiast and you are from Colorado, or you are thinking about coming to Colorado, you might have heard all of us locals talking about something called conquering 14ers. And you might think, what the heck is a 14er? A 14er is a mountain that we have an abundance of here in Colorado, and it is basically a mountain that lies above 14,000 feet. Now this is like a game to us local Coloradans, and we just try to conquer as many of them as we can. These are intense, high altitude hikes that the majority take place over tree line. They sometimes include various things like boulder hopping and scrambling, and sometimes just rock climbing. So as I've been talking about this, you either like have a pit in your stomach and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna do that, or you're like, ooh, this sounds really fun and I want to get started. I'm going to be talking about today one of the most accessible and easy 14ers that is here in Colorado, and that is Mount Bierstadt. Hi, my name is Alexandra. I am a full-time blogger and adventure photographer. I run a blog called The Bucket List Mermaid, where I help you live adventurously through the lens. Now, just a quick backstory, I am a Colorado local and I am a hiking fiend. It's literally in my blood. Like, I came out of the womb with hiking poles. I think my longest one was like 55 miles through Peru. Anyway, I have taken so many people on Mount Bierstadt, and most of them, it was their very first 14er. I even had some friends from England come and do this 14er. So I'm going to be explaining everything that you need to do if it is your first 14er. So let's get started so that you are totally prepared for Mount Bierstadt. This is straight from the mouth of a Colorado adventurer. Now here are just some quick stats about Mount Bierstadt. Instead of rattling them off, I'm just gonna put them right here so that you can read them. As you can see, this is above 14,000 feet, and you do go up around 2,700 feet. And this is at altitude, so do not take this lightly. I repeat, do not think that this is an easy hike just because it is an easy 14er. A lot of people think that this is the easiest 14er because it is close to Denver. It doesn't have as much elevation gain or mileage as the other 14ers, but do not be fooled. Those will be your famous last words. If you are coming here from sea level, or even if you're an avid hiker, this hike is hard. I'm gonna hold your hand and say this. All 14ers are hard, even for Colorado people. You ascend about 2,700 feet in a little less than 4 miles. The beginning part is pretty easy, but once you get above tree line, it's kind of like a Stairmaster from hell. We're keeping it honest here. Also, not to mention that weather can shift on a dime. We'll talk about it. And that's not even mentioning the crowds, the altitude sickness, and it's kind of hard on your knees. Are you still with me? If you're still with me, if I'm not scaring you right now, then let's be friends. Anyway, let's go into some practical information. The trailhead is actually on Guanella Pass, and I would actually recommend starting this hike very, very early, even before sunrise, and it can be very, very hard to find during sunrise. Funny story, those people that came from England, it was me and 3 other friends, and we actually missed it. We drove all the way to this sketchy motel in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. and was like, where is the trailhead? So we got totally lost. The whole thing was just very sketchy and scary, and kind of straight out of a horror serial killer movie. Anyway, keep an eye out for that trailhead because it is a little easy to miss and it's not marked very well. Now, going back on what I say that you should get there very early is that parking does fill up very fast, probably around 5:30 a.m. Now, personally, I like to get there very, very early because I like to summit for sunrise. That is just my personal quirk. It's like my secret local tip to doing 14ers is get there before everybody else. Now, the closest town to Mount Bierstadt is going to be Idaho Springs and Georgetown. I have gone where I've just gone straight through, and I've also gone where I've stayed in Georgetown before. It's obviously better if you do stay, but I don't think it's really needed. Just be aware that that drive back is going to be a little tricky if you don't stay and you don't get a nap before you drive back. It's a hard and strenuous hike. You're not going to be getting a lot of sleep, so just make sure that you're staying safe when you are driving back to Denver or wherever you're going. Now, as far as what to pack, I have a full guide on how to hike Mount Bierstadt, and all of that will be linked in the description below instead of me just listing off random things. I think it would be better for you to actually have a tangible list. I also have a free hiking checklist. This is not a 14er hiking checklist. This is just a general hiking checklist, but I think it is a good starting place. It is free and you can get it right here. Go check out that article for the full list because I do have an entire comprehensive list of everything that you do need to pack and what you don't need to pack, because you cannot overpack on this hike or you will regret it and suffer. I promise. Now let's go through the best time to hike. Now I kind of touched on this before, but I prefer to hike before everybody else. I think normally people get there around 4 to 5:30, and I think this is great, but I prefer to do it way earlier, like around 2:30 or 3. I know you're twitching. I can feel your left eye twitching right now. I know, but just hear me out, okay? I love night hiking. I think it's so fun, especially if you have a buddy. Get your little headlamp, you can watch the sun come up over the mountains, you can stargaze. It is absolutely beautiful. 2, if you are running fast enough, you probably could make it up to the summit for sunrise. And let me tell you, being on the summit of Mount Bierstadt for sunrise is something that it's just a bucket list thing that you gotta do. It's just like mountains in all directions and like the sun just comes. It is beautiful. It's so beautiful. Try to do it. Number 3, the crowds are a lot less, said because you're getting there when no one wants to get there. So yay. And also, I personally hate hiking in the heat. I have asthma and that gets really, really angry when I exercise in heat. So I just can't do the heat. And sometimes when you are coming down off of that mountain during lunchtime, it can get pretty hot. Also, my reason number 4 is that Colorado has a tendency to get these thunderstorms, and if you are above tree line, really quickly, if you don't know what that is, it's basically the spot where the trees can't grow anymore, so you will have 0 shade, 0 anything. It's just going to be you and an incredible mountain view, but the problem is that if you get caught in a thunderstorm, there is nothing for the lightning to strike except you. These do tend to typically happen in the afternoon, so if you are off of the mountain by the afternoon or like early, late lunchtime, then you will decrease your risk of becoming a human lightning rod, and we don't want that. Now you're here, you're parked, you're a little grumpy because it's like 3 a.m., but I'm gonna go run through what the trail actually looks like and what to expect from the trail from Mount Bierstadt. Now the first part is actually really nice. There's not really a lot of hills. I kind of call it the boardwalk, and it's kind of like through this marsh kind of area. I know that's probably not actually what it is, but you're going to be walking on a lot of these wooden planks. It's going to be very, very easy, very, very chill. As I said, I normally do this section at night, so this is a great time for me to casually look up, see the stars, and enjoy it before it gets too hard. So there is a section where there is a small river. Every time that I have hiked Mount Bierstadt, I've always had to cross this river. I have had friends fall in this river. The rocks are very slippery. Sometimes the water is higher than others, depending on what time of the year you are going. If you are going in June to early July, expect the water to be pretty high. And it is kind of hard because if you do fall in it when you're going up, you're gonna have wet socks for the entire ascent. And I have had that happen before. So just be very, very careful when you are crossing the river. It's funny, there's actually a video of me like giving up on the way back and just like walking through the river. So that's also another option. If you are worried about it and you do feel safe, I would almost just take off your shoes and socks, and you could just walk through the river that way and then put them back on if you really, really don't want to risk having wet socks for the entire duration of the hike, which is a long hike, so be prepared. And next you are going to have the climb. This is where it starts to get a little steep. Now here is a tip that no one else will tell you, but I'm gonna be honest with you because that's what this video is all about. Before you hit tree line, and you will see it is a very clear spot where the trees just stop. Before you hit tree line, use the bathroom, because once you get tree line, there's no trees, there's no privacy, there's maybe like a rock here and there, and I'll let you use your imagination on how awkward that is when you have to use the restroom and there's, you know, a lot of people, because this is a popular 14er, and you just like have to do your business out in a field with a bunch of people watching you. Don't be that person. Pack some toilet paper, pack a little plastic bag, and do your business before you hit tree line on this climb section. Once you hit tree line, it's gonna be a pretty rocky trail, but nothing, it's very well marked, it's very nice. No complaints here, just watch your footing for some loose rocks. And take breaks where you need it. This is a pretty brutal push, especially if you aren't used to hiking at altitude. I would also encourage you to look up the symptoms of altitude sickness. I have had people get dizzy, I've had people get nauseous, I've even had people act drunk when they're not drunk, it's just altitude sickness. If this does happen to you, stop, manage it, drink a bunch of water, and slowly start to descend or call for help. Altitude sickness is real up here, people. It is real. And then the last section is the boulder field. Now this is a little tricky, especially for people who aren't used to scrambling, but basically it's just these giant boulders and you just kind of have to jump from one to the other. You can use your hands, that is totally fine. If you do, I'd recommend just a pair of lightweight gloves. If you are scared of heights, this might be a little nerve-wracking for you, but just go slow, take some deep breaths, you got this. It's also worth noting that there isn't really a set trail here. You kind of just go wherever you feel comfortable. The nice pristine, like kind of rocky trail down there is gone, and it's basically just you maneuvering through an entire boulder path. how'd they even get up there? That's my question. How did the boulders get up there? Can someone please comment? I really, really want to know. And then once you get past the boulder field, you will reach the summit, do a little happy dance, take a bunch of pictures, take a sip of water, eat some good snacks. You deserved it. Now, I am also a travel photographer, so I just have to give you a couple little tips for how to photograph the summit, because let's be honest, you're gonna want to photograph the summit. Now, one of the things that a lot of Colorado locals do, which you will probably see, is most of us make a little sign. Normally it's on a piece of cardboard with a Sharpie, and we'll say Mount Bierstadt and then the elevation 14,065 feet. You will see a lot of people with their friends with these signs standing at the summit. It's a very, very cool photo shot. Some people put the date just to kind of commemorate when they have done it. This is a very fun picture. Also, another picture that if you do want to get somewhere on the summit, you kind of have to walk a little bit further, and you most likely will see people taking pictures with it, but there's this little plaque down there that will kind of say information about the summit. A lot of times you can put your hiking shoe in there and get a pretty good photo. If you are going to take a camera, I would recommend taking a small mirrorless camera like this one. I will link it in the description. This is my go-to travel adventure camera. I just put it on a little Peak Design clip because I hate hiking with this around my neck, so I'll link that as well. I basically just clip it to my backpack like this. If you are taking actual pictures of the summit, there's two ways that you can do it. Most people take a wide angle lens, like anywhere from like a 15 millimeter to like a 30 millimeter, and this is really good for those wide sweeping landscapes. Personally, I like the more like compressed, like zoomed in shots. So I would probably take my 70 to 200 millimeter and get those like really cool compressed mountain shots from the summit. Another option is this bad boy right here. This is an Insta360. This does not take as good of pictures as a camera or a phone, so just keep that in mind. But basically you just, have the little camera right there, and then you do your hiking business. You could mount it, like you get like a chest mount, or they have like head mounts where you can mount it right there, and you get 360-degree footage. And through some sorcery that I don't understand, it makes the stick disappear during the video. So this is a really cool idea, especially if you're doing like point of view hiking videos, or you're doing like you hopping around in the boulder field. I think the Insta360 would be very, very fun. Just be careful, always use the wrist strap, because if you do fall, heaven forbid, just let it go and save yourself. Camera's replaceable, you are not. Also, golden hour is your best friend, specifically sunrise. Again, we're getting there early. We're being smart about this, but some of my best sunrise photos have actually come from 14ers. They are chef's kiss. And once you get down to below tree line, it's going to be a lot easier for you to get maybe some foreground interest, bushes with Mount Bierstadt looming in the background, or maybe some wildflowers if you're lucky. Have fun. And then basically you just go the same exact path from where you came from, and by the time you get to your car, your legs will feel like jelly. The ride home will be very hard because you will be very tired, and then you'll sleep for like 4 hours. And then you'll be hooked and you'll just want to conquer all of them. 'Tis the way of hiking 14ers. Now, just some quick tips for this, just for acclimatization and altitude sickness and how to prep and train and all of that jazz, just to make sure that this is an actual enjoyable experience and not one where it's like kind of scary. Just to start, I would recommend, if you are coming from out of state, to acclimatize beforehand. Just don't do this like on your first day out. One time I did this and 2 people came in from Florida, and I have never been so impressed in my life that these people even attempted this hike coming straight from sea level. To spend a few days in Denver, that's mile high, so that'll at least get you a little bit higher, just so your body can get used to it a little bit more. Again, really research altitude sickness, headache, nausea, dizziness, shortness of breath. If you are worried about this, when those people from Florida did come and we did a 14er, we actually bought one of those oxygen packets. They have them literally everywhere, from Walgreens to Safeway, and it's literally just a canister of oxygen. Now, it is not a save all, it is just in case of emergency, but that actually did help. We did actually reach a point where she was really, really struggling, and we did have that oxygen canister, and it did help the altitude sickness symptoms so that we could just rest before we descended. And some things that you can do during your hike to avoid this, or just avoid being sick in general: make sure you are hydrating. I always hike with a Camelback so that I can just sip water, because I'm a lazy hiker, and if I had to get it out of my backpack, I just wouldn't do it. Bring snacks, take lots of breaks, go slow. This is a marathon. marathon, not a sprint. I'm gonna be honest, you will most likely be humbled by like the crazy Colorado trail runners. I don't know what it is. They're like 60 to 70-year-olds who have like transcended aging, and they just like run up this trail. Or you'll see like a 5-year-old just like run up it. Don't be intimidated. Go at your own pace. If you get sick, stop, turn around, conquer it another day. So those are my local tips for tackling Mount Bierstadt, one of Colorado's easiest 14ers. What do you think? Have you done 14ers before? Does this sound like a good one to start out with? And if you do check this off your bucket list and you do get some photos, I would love to cheer you on. Feel free to DM me, or I do have a Facebook group called Shutterbugs Gone Wild where we share our adventure photos. And again, if you do want that full guide of Mount Bierstadt, or you just like need something in front of you to read versus me just rambling on like a crazy hiker, I will link that in the description. It's found on thebucketlistmermaid.com. And if you did enjoy this video and this was helpful for you, it would mean the world to this hiking mermaid if you would just hit that like and subscribe button so I can keep bringing you free adventurous content so that you can check off everything on your adventure bucket list. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Good luck climbing Mount Bierstadt, and here's to living adventurously through your lens.